Yes, first of all, I would like to start this discussion with one sentence by George Braque. This is a French painter that art is a wound turned into light. And then I will take some time to introduce myself. My name is Olena Kayinska. I'm an artist based in Lviv, Ukraine, and my primary point of research is the possibility to find a kind of inner peace, and not in the mountain monasteries and some shrines which I visited a lot, but just here where you are. And I want to discover how to use our very subtle and inner feelings to tell the lie from truth, and also I employ my visual language to evoke the feeling of a kind meditation in the heart. So my paintings are very simple. They are like very pure and naive, and they have a simplified forms of objects, bodies, buildings, landscapes, and I used this simplicity to highlight the philosophical sense I put that and the story which lies behind every painting. And just I like the proverb of one Ukrainian philosopher, Grigory Skovoroda, that in order to become simple, you need to become very complicated first. And so I think that the great complexity can be found behind the simplicity. And recently I found out that the pace of life is becoming more and more fast, and we become more and more overwhelmed by stress. And sometimes I get up and look into my Google Calendar, what should I do today? And I said, oh my God, how can I deal with all of these things? And there is more and more. And 5 years ago, I had like five things to do during the day. Now I have like 25, and one I do and three other come, and I really feel like overwhelmed. And sometimes I'll share one moment. It was 2 weeks ago. I was in Carpathians and I lost my passport, and accidentally in the rain, and I drive again to the mountains to go to the woods and try to find it. And so I didn't find it, but I took some few hours just to walk in the woods, and I was sitting by the lake, and then I felt that something stopped inside of me. This constant stress stopped, and I forgot about all this 25 Google Calendar tasks, and I said, oh my God, come on, why I put so many things in my life so I don't have time to sit by the lake and just to perceive and just to breathe in. And sometimes I don't have time to look about how are my feelings, what I feel today. And when I have this moment, I recognize that the feeling becomes very subtle, they are very fragile, they are as if made from a very thin glass, and these feelings often don't resonate with what's going on outside, with the city environment where I live, with a lot of tasks, with a lot of work, with a lot of things for organizing the exhibitions and so on and so forth, and the vast amount of information coming from everywhere. And my feelings are rather dissonant from this increasing pace of life and challenges and work overload and stress. And sometimes I also have a kind of very stressful states like panic attacks or anxiety. And I think that this is because of the stress, and also because of a lot of traumas I got in the past. And one of my research point is how to cure trauma. Is it possible? What is trauma itself? And I found out that trauma is freezing. And trauma immobilizes you, it paralyzes, it fragments your world into pieces. After the trauma, there remain only the wreckages of the familiar world you had. Trauma can be any part of any kind of trauma, like physical trauma, which I had a lot, split of the relationships, some loss of the beloved person who dies. And I felt that trauma separates a person from their body. It takes away the feeling of safety and the possibility to feel and set the boundaries and communicate with the society on the rights of the valid part. And trauma remains with the person forever. Even when the trauma is healed, a scar remains after it, which is perceptible, which hurts, which speaks. And after the trauma, a person remains a kind of incomplete and isolated from the environment, and a person feels like transparent, like nobody sees me where I am. And the trauma, when which is timely cured and mourned over, can be healed faster. And it's very terrifying to start mourning over your trauma, because this means to reveal your vulnerability. This is the other side of us, the vulnerability, and so it's being carefully camouflaged and hidden in everyday battle, because this side remains from very deep childhood, but it didn't turn into the rudiment. This side just come deeper, and it got into another dimension, into the space of subconscious, just somewhere behind the line. And trauma is very closely linked with shame, because it's very shameful that something may be not good with you, that you may be perceived like not normal or something. And to overcome a shame, you need to pay a very heavy price to tell your secret. And every secret wants to be told, and dead bodies don't want to rest in their graves and until their stories are told. And pre-narrative about trauma is the first step to healing, and one needs to rethink the trauma to feel the present and pave their way to the future. So trauma carries a kind of the conflict in itself. A person wants to protest against the trauma and put it back somewhere, hide it somewhere just deep into the ground, and at the same time a person wants to speak about it, to release it, to show it, to make a kind of commemoration, to ask other people, here, look at me, listen to my story, I'm here. And everybody wants to speak that unspoken, and to do this, one person needs to feel safe, just trust. And people don't choose to get traumas. Trauma enters the life by itself, leaving only one choice: to live it over, to overcome, or die, or just remain that kind of incomplete and fragile and damaged forever. And there are several types of traumas. Can be traumas of the body, traumas of our mind, traumas of the family, traumas of society. And traumas of the family is also very damageful for people, because like children usually don't let themselves to be happy until their parents are not happy. So it's it's children want to fully understand what their parents got through, so they usually go through the same things in their lives, and they like want to take over part of the pain from their parents, to for the parents are easier to live. And is it possible to cure the trauma? I don't know. I don't know for sure, but I know for sure that art helps. And art offers some evidence-based solution for treating issues like depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, phobias, bipolar disorder, addictions, traumas related to grief and loss, and eating disorders, physical traumas, relationship issues. Art can be really very helpful. I have evidences from my own artistic practice. For example, when half a year ago my grandmother died, she was one of my closest friends, and I was curing my trauma by painting by a series of the painting related to her. It was the painting, one of them is called, it's in the exhibition, The Children Bury the Beetle, because when the beetle dies, it's not so big, it's just a little bit sad, and children easily forget. So I try to transform the big grief, the big loss, into something simply sad. It's easily to overcome then. And also art can be helpful for anyone who feels similar to me, to my feelings, like overwhelming and pressure from the hectic world. And also I found out that the simple act of creation serves a kind of proof, like, look at me, I'm here, I matter, I did something, I made a piece. You can look at my piece, and I took this piece out of myself, I separated it from myself, and it's not no longer me, but this is just a part of my story, and it matters, and you can see. And this was a revelation for me, how much cure this act can do. And also I found out that art practices can bring hope. can bring hope, because this regaining hope always seems a critical aspect of the individual trauma recovery. Like, things can be good again. I can wake up and have to do what I love to do, the paint, also the physical, the act of physical creations, like I put my hands into the paint and I took the brushes and I take the canvas and I touch. So I regain this physical senses, physical sensations of the world around. Also, art can give the feeling of stability, like a solid ground under my feet. When I concentrate and I'm totally absorbed on the process of creation, I feel like I'm here, I live, I am. Also, trauma can help express yourself what is unspoken, what is very hard to verbalize. Like, I feel something, I don't know what exactly. I don't know how to say it, but I can express this with the art, and I'm not afraid that somebody can improperly interpret it. I'm not actually I don't care anymore. Also, when you are overcoming a loss, you can do anything. You don't want, you just lie in the bed all the day, you just stay at home, you just stay so quiet, you want to do nothing. And art practice is something different, is the art of making. So still you get up and you do something with your hands, and then you feel that you are focused and you are absorbed by this activity, and you are alive again. Also the art can help you become open to yourself again, because when something very bad happens, you turn away from you as if, or close up the shop, like, okay, I don't know what I feel, I don't want to look inside, I don't want to look there, I don't know, okay, go away. And you say it to yourself, go away. And when you start creating some art practices, you go inside and you meet yourself again, and you take this damaged part, this wounded, bloody, this thing that pains, and you take it away and you take it out, you make it external, and you look at it from the other side. Like, once I was very interested in the researches by Bert Hellinger, who did this some kind of psychological experiments, very interesting. And he said that you can never deal with the situation when you are inside of the situation. You can only deal with it when you go out. So art can help you go out and look from the other part. Also, the art can help you acknowledge these feelings. Yes, I'm in pain. Yes, I'm damaged. Yes, I'm abandoned. Yes, he left me. I'm alone now. Nobody loves me. Yes, I am. This is my feelings. No matter how they pain, but I acknowledge and I recognize, and I don't want to lurk them again into my subconscious. They are here. They are with me. And when you overcome this first step, art can help you go into kind of altered state of consciousness. This is the state when your body, mind, and heart are totally engaged into the activity. You go into the altered state called flow. It was also described by Csikszentmihalyi. And this holistic state it appears when you use other parts of the brain than you normally use in the life, like parts of the brain you use for logical linear thinking. And this altered state can help you, like, recalibrate after the trauma. It can help you again make adjust all the settings, like the complete new setup, and it's really helpful. And it helps some eliminate some emotional blocks, because when you do, like, make your circle bigger. And after that, after these things help, comes a very, very beautiful state. It calls a post-traumatic strength. So it comes along with the post-traumatic stress. And when the bone is broken and it comes together alone, this part becomes very thick and it will never be broken at the same part. So when you got this post-traumatic stress and post-traumatic strength after you cure the trauma, you become stronger. And art can promote this catharsis, just to free you, to go your feelings. Okay, I think I'm done. Maybe you guys have some comments or some questions or suggestions. Yes.
However, as a viewer, I cannot resist the feeling that there is something evil hiding in those images. Um, but in fact, the paintings are an expression of an old man, frightened and lonely. Um, Here are some of those last paintings. Um, this one I would like to discuss with you later because what I see in this painting is Goya, um, who is surrounded um, with some spirit or some power. I don't exactly know what, but the character on the right um, might be something that was with him at that moment. I would like to know your opinion about that last painting. And here is something that is probably not connected with the topic, but I really like the humor that is inside those drawings. I don't know if the humor is the right word, but I like those drawings very well. So it was when Goya was alive. It was believed that witches are are among people. And even though the witches are evil and dangerous, they sometimes need to do human works to make living, obviously. So on the drawing on the right, Goya is showing an old witch um, who's making some wool, and for her work, she's getting dead newborns, which she keeps tied under the ceiling that are on the right. And it was believed also that no matter what, you should never touch witch's hair because it brings bad luck and misfortune. And God forbid, no matter what, people should not cut witch's nails. And um, the drawing on the left is actually called. It really, the title is "Are They Cutting Nails?" They are cutting nails of a witch. Okay, so this is the end, and there's only few of us in here, and I would like to make how can I switch it off? Um, hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So coming back to the topic, I need to tell you that last year I was diagnosed with a bipolar disorder, and in my case, it's some kind of a blessing because it makes me do more, and it keeps me going all the time, and I really appreciate it. I accepted it and I try to deal with it. And it's maybe not helpful because it's wrong to tell that a disorder is helpful, but I definitely can admit that it's something that keeps me going all the time. And yeah, that's it. If you look at my works, actually, I would like to see if some people see a disorder in my works. Like, is it possible to know that there's something going on, by looking at my works? Yeah, that's it. So I would like to know your opinion about the paintings, because that was the main topic.
Okay, thank you so much, Magda, for that really interesting talk. And I really appreciated all of that scientific research actually at the start. There was stuff in there that I didn't know, and I thought that I was relatively well versed in this topic. So that
Yeah, exactly.
that was really great.
Yeah, it was really interesting, and there's actually a lot more information. Like it's an ocean,
Yeah.
so there's nothing more, just to dig deeper.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go to the panel, and we'll go to Olena first. If you want to give any feedback or comments, or also in relation to the paintings that Magda was talking about, the Goya works.
I want to thank Magdalena for your presentation, because when I started to research and to think about what I'm going to speak, one question arose for me, and you actually provided an answer to it.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, really, because I started to ask a question to myself, that what is true? Is it true that to be kind of genius, you need to be kind of schizophrenic? Is it true? Because a lot of very famous artists and writers and scientists really have issues with mental health, and it's true. Or is art is serving as a cure to overcome these mental problems? Because for me, as a being also suffering from the panic attacks and anxiety, because sometimes I get really frustrated and I cannot get up and do something, and I am not creative during those times. Just in order to be creative, I need to be happy and I need to be positive. I need to be full of energy. Only in this case the paintings came out of me, but when I feel depressed I can do nothing. And where is it true? What do you guys think? Is it really necessary to have these mental issues in order to be creative, or we should use art to heal our mind?
I think both sides are true and possible, but about being having a disorder, actually, it's much easier to go deeper into arts because you are focused on different things in life than other people. You don't think about things that other people consider important. For example, like I don't know, getting a job, like a real proper job. Or I don't know, or doing dishes or stuff like this, because you can have a pail of laundry and it doesn't matter because you need to draw or do something because it keeps you going all the time. So this is the first side, and I can tell that I'm on this side that it doesn't matter. I will do that later. I need to draw. But on the other hand, like you said, art is healing. Um, so I don't remember how's it called, the therapy through art. Is it color
Art therapy.
Thanks.
I'm not joking, honestly, that's what it's called.
I know. I was more thinking about color therapy or stuff like this. Art therapy, yeah, sounds fair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
so
another question
it's true.
arises: is it necessary to cure an artist, or artists can lose the talent after cured from the mental issues? What do you
Well,
think?
I guess that it's not necessary to cure an artist completely. Just it's it should be forbidden. Um, I think that therapists and people or our families should just help us to deal with the world, not to heal us, just to deal with stuff. Because
Because
yes,
actually for me it's more frustrating and it's an obstacle for me which I have to overcome always. But for you it's
um,
different, right?
yes, because I don't know if you know anything about bipolar disorder.
Yes, I
It's
know.
some, you know,
I know
it's
because I have a
crazy.
very slight form of the same thing. It's not a bipolar, but I have a different mood all the day. Like it may vary during the day. Like I'm very high or I'm very very low. So
Yeah,
fortunately
that's
now I'm
crazy.
high.
Yeah, so if it comes to me, I'm always high. So this is why I'm grateful to have that because I'm always high, and if I get a low, it's just a day or few hours, so I can take rest actually. But the rest of the life is, always high.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Anything about paintings? Not really.
What?
Uh, anything about paintings? About Goya's paintings?
They
Um,
are quite, I feel like they are quite on the dark side of the moon. They are quite different, and I think that maybe really the person with a kind of depression or frustration should paint them, or yeah, or for example, when person is happy, they would never go to research these topics of like witches or this man dressed like a goat, or the person would come for more joyful or more like life standing issues or topics, I think.
yes, you're absolutely right.
But the paintings are ingenious, that's for sure. They're absolutely amazing. But they can show that the person lives a difficult life inside. Like it's
Yes, and what was amazing is that those paintings were painted literally on the wall. So he didn't even he didn't care about the surface. Like he was just covering the walls.
yeah.
Um, this is the first step to craziness, I guess.
Also, when I was looking at the paintings you shared, I draw a parallel with the Russian painter Vrubel. Maybe you know about him. He has a painting Demon.
Yes, I guess I've seen the ring a bell somewhere.
Yes, his paintings are also the dominant colors are dark, and the topics are like demons and witches, and so this altered state of minds. And I think we can find many examples in the world history of art the same.
Probably yes.
But actually, as for me, that I try to transform these states into something very kind and light, and so my paintings are very positive and good, and I know that life is difficult and inside of me I am difficult myself, but art can be used to transform the darkness into light, like this proverb that art is a wound turned into light. So I use art to turn my wounds into something very good and kind, and to increase the number of kindness in this world, to the extent it's possible to do maximum I can do. I remember one situation. It was there is a very big contemporary art festival in Ukraine, Air Gogol Fest. It's distributed all over the big cities. And last year I was presenting in a big warehouse. It's usually they make the events at the abandoned factories or warehouses or something like that. Maybe guys, some of you wants to come go to Ukraine and join and participate in this festival. So you can contact me and we can go together, and that would be great. And they planned they some of the events are cancelled due to the pandemic, but as far as I know, the nearest event will be in the city festive. It's the middle of September, something like this. So just write to my Facebook and we will coordinate how to do this. So maybe you can bring your artworks or make some kind of performance or like this. So let's interconnect the culture. So the situation was that I presented 24 big pieces in the big warehouse and a lot of people coming. It was like 13,000 of people present at the festival. And then I saw a man, like a big adult serious man in a suit, and he was standing in front of the painting and crying. And I came to him and said, "Come, hello, I'm an artist, I'm here." And he said, "It's just the moment when I understood the whole deepness of the kindness and tenderness you put inside of it." And so I started crying together with him.
Oh no.
That was really very nice moment, and I think that these mental issues in art, they have, like, we are the circle and the circle has holes, and it can go outside through different hole, like through the hole of Goya, like through the dark side, to emit what's inside, or through this transformation hole, when you can firstly transform this into something lighter and more joyful and then go out. Or it can go another way, I don't know. Or my cat is here. Go say hello. Everybody loves cats.
He looks like he wanted to kill someone.
No, she's very nice. Okay, go.
Okay, so I think that now we have Rajesh back. Rajesh, are you back in the room? Because I think that maybe your internet cut out. Rajesh, are you here?
Microphone.
Yes, I can see you. Rajesh, you need to unmute. Because we can't hear you. I can see you, but we can't hear you. So Rajesh is our third panel member, and he will be sharing his thoughts next, hopefully, if the internet is going to behave for us all.
Type it.
Yes, I will type it in case you can't hear. Sometimes the internet is just not playing well. Rajesh, unmute. I'm not sure if the connection is bad, because for me Rajesh is frozen.
Yeah.
So yeah, and he's left a couple of times and come back. So we'll move on and we'll come back to that. I put my book down because I thought Rajesh was going to be talking. One of the things that I wanted to bring up was about Goya and his painting on the wall, because I think it's really interesting when you look at people's work who aren't alive now, not contemporary art, when you look at people who are in the past, because you obviously have to take into account the context that their work's in, but also he's painted on the walls in the house and then died. Did he ever actually expect anybody to see those paintings? Were they his kind of personal release? Were they his diary or his journal or his kind of thing? I don't know, but it also makes me think of the way that kind of mental illness is often portrayed in films, in Hollywood in particular, where you see people who have gone mad, kind of drawing all over the walls. So I think that's kind of an interesting thing to think about.
There was a documentary about. I watched it a long time ago, so forgive me that I don't remember the names. But there was a man.
The question is to both of you, or one at the other, is if you see how you see art therapy, and if you think art therapy has a place in contemporary art practice. That was a long way of explaining why I've come to that question. Do you understand my question?
Thank you so much, Rowan. And sorry, before, I understand now that was what you were saying, and I think that there was a glitch in the internet and I didn't hear you say that was who you are. So apologies for that.
It's my own fault for putting up a pseudonym.
Okay, panelists, do you have any answer about art therapy in contemporary art practices?
Olena?
Yes.
Can I just add something here before?
Yes. I also wanted to ask you, Augustine. Sorry, your name is not Augustine.
No, it's Rowan. Please, I'm so sorry.
Do you have any work by your side that you could show us? Because I'm really curious. What are your works about?
I'll have to share my screen, won't I?
Yes, please. I would like to ask Olena as well to show your works
Yeah, I
because
also want to see the works of all of you guys, and maybe we can make kind of a several minute presentation, each of us, because I'm really very interested.
Well, I actually have to admit, I've gone online and looked at your work, and Rajesh, before this, just to see, if I could find a kind of a connection. Sorry, my English is quite bad. Let me see. I don't know how to share a screen here, so.
I've started to explain that to you whilst on mute. At the bottom, there's like a big white bar, and on the right-hand side, there's a button that says "Present Now."
Yeah. Okay.
If you click on that,
yeah,
it gives you some different options.
Yeah, I've got that. That's great.
Okay,
So what I have to do is get up some. Let me see. I'm looking now desperately for what I think's my best work. What's my best work? Let me see. I'm just going into my.
Your best work's the work that's in the show.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you. And thank you very much for accepting it. I'm thrilled to bits.
I love that moment when someone asks you to show your work and you're like, yeah, okay. And you have all the shitty ones by your side.
It's true. It is so true.
Happens all the time.
Let me see. 19. Let me see. Started work 19. No. Work. I'm so sorry. This is ridiculous. Let me see. Here, I'll take this one up. Are you looking at my screen now?
No.
No, we're still looking at you.
Oh, are you? Bless you. Aren't you lucky? Okay. There we go. There we go. Can you see my screen now?
No.
No. So when you click on present now, it should bring up 3 options, your entire screen. Oh, there you go. It's happening. It's happening.
You got it. Okay. Let me see. It's actually I have. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Do you see all my small icon work there?
Yeah, we can see that.
No. Okay. Well, I think as well my computer is a little bit slow, and there it's coming up something not working. Let me see. If I can open this. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm sorry, I would have had this prepared for you. Or I could have
Don't
gone to my website.
Don't apologize. Technology is great when it works, but it never works when you want it to.
Wonderful. Right. I'm going to go on to my website. I think that's the easiest. And hopefully it will. Or if this doesn't want a link, and maybe if you're interested, you can look at it later, because I don't want to on this. And as you can see, it's going painfully slow because I'm working with you. There we go. It's happening, I promise.
Whilst it's coming up, Rowan, do you want to just explain what it is that you're going to show us?
Yeah, this work for. I'll just explain very briefly that I've been working on the subject for 20, 22, 23 years, and just repeating the same process over and over, and through the years that's changed in minute stages. And but the fascination is repetition. It's the impossibility of duplication and investigating one single mark over and over, making it over and over, which is a horizontal line. So that's what I do. I limit my material and I limit the way that I make the work. I only use powders, pigment powders, graphite powder or pigment, and oil and cold wax. And the result is, as I'm getting, you would imagine that I would get very bored with the process that happens. I get drawn in more and more into the process and deeper into it, so that tiny movements, tiny nuances take on a much larger importance. So,
and what's the
can you
surface?
see work? The surface is paper. I work with oil and cold wax and graphite and pigment on paper. And I work flat and push materials over the surface.
Those works are so elegant.
Right, I'm not going to bore you anymore. Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's a wonderful word, because I'm very preoccupied with the idea of sorry, how beautiful they are. Just love my work. And it gives me a great amount of reward, which I think is part of the reason, although I don't believe my art is a therapy, as I go back to the fact that the reward is looking, enjoying, absorbing, learning, and absorbing it so deeply into me that I can actually go into a state of ecstasy almost. And it's, I think if you took it away from us, if someone took away our ability to work and go through all the emotions that we feel when we're working, I think it would be devastating to many of us.
Yes, and answering your question, if I can, I believe that art therapy is healing. Like it is useful, and I think it's a good way of starting a therapy, because some people say that therapy is just talking and medicine, but I guess that what art therapy is about is getting all your thoughts together and concentrating on one topic. And this is exactly yes, this is it. Like this is what heals people. Like putting their minds together.
Olena, do you have anything that you would like to add?
Use the free version of Recorder, and it stops every 10 minutes. I didn't know that there is a associate function. I was for 3.5 years I was working for the charitable foundation, Saint Christopher Foundation, which was aimed to help the handicapped children. The children who suffered from Down syndrome and ADHD and so on and so forth. And we used art therapy and clay therapy, and actually the pieces that was a time when I didn't paint it myself. I didn't start it. I never know that I will become an artist, professional one, and I'll quit the job to do the arts. But that was a time when I got a serious job, and I was absolutely impressed about the pieces the children made. I will show you one. I have a gift, and it's on my wall. One moment.
Simon, does quitting the job to do art sounds familiar?
I absolutely love those pieces. And I think that the art therapy can start as a therapy, but then it can develop into complete full-fledged artistic practice, so it can develop and reveal the talent. And also we have an outsider art, and it's absolutely overwhelming, but I usually follow the outsider art fair and also the festival of naive art in Poland, in Katowice. I want to come there once to exhibit, and these pieces are absolutely magnificent and they evoke emotions. And really, when these pieces can show the state of the person, when I see the paintings made by people with really very severe disorders. The people who stay in a mental hospital, who do not live, because I hope that the disorders we have are quite slight, because we are active, adequate, we can work, we can communicate. So but the people who stay in the hospital and cannot live a normal life, these paintings are something absolutely fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I have also a few art books at home. Sometimes I use them for the inspiration, and these paintings are very sincere, they are very open, and they are very frightening sometimes. But I think this is an absolutely full-fledged part of the contemporary art. Because I don't like when people say, oh, art therapy is something like inferiority, like, art therapy, okay, so people doing something who don't know how to paint. But sometimes it can reveal really magnificent talents.
Okay, thank you very much. I have something to add on art therapy and artists using art as therapy. I think for me, there's it's important to clarify whether we're talking about art therapy, which is a kind of distinct genre of psychotherapy with a particular aim to help mental health, or whether we're talking about the fact that as practitioners we find our art therapeutic, because that is something different. And I think that many creatives, not just visual artists, but musicians, dancers, filmmakers, writers, poets, performers, right? You could go on and on and on. I think that for a lot of people who express themselves through their work, whatever that might be, I think that they probably have an element of therapy to that, but it's more that they're finding it therapeutic for themselves to deal with life. Perhaps because, like Magda said, quite often artists are kind of on the fringes of society in some way. We're always, even if we're not actually, we're always perceived as other, and that means that you're in that kind of fringe society, or you're in that minority of society. So perhaps that means that we need that, we need that expression as a way to make ourselves feel a little bit better, or to process things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry. Would anybody else like to ask anything or comment on anything?
Okay, I can share the pictures. So I will show you a little bit of my practice.
Yes.
The entire screen.
Okay.
I try to share my screen.
Yeah, so again, it's the big bar at the bottom, present now, click on that, and then...
I found it.
Okay, good.
But it didn't want to... Do you see my screen?
No.
Not yet, no.
Oh, why? Chrome wants to share this technology. And now?
No.
This is my experience all the time with technology. Okay, it's happening.
Yeah, great. So I think that it will be quicker if I show the files not from the website. which I recently finished. Yes, I will show you a few paintings and tell a few words about them. So they are all very big, like big scale. Like this painting has 2 meters, and it shows the man who has very big problems, and he came on his horse out of the city, and he saw a big and he tells to the God, "Oh God, please, I'm so fucked up. I have so many problems. Please take these problems out of me and hold me because you are so big and magnificent." And the God is presented in a part of the ear. And I wanted in this painting, I wanted to symbolize that this big power who can take our problems and deal with them is inside of us. It's not some God who lives on the clouds, but this is something that we can do by ourselves. Also, many paintings of me, they have quite connections with gods and different divine powers, but it needs an explanation, so it has nothing to do with Christianity. And this painting also shows that every person has the connection with that higher self, and has 2 ways of living: either to listen to other people say by what is with the ear, or listen to the heart and go your way. For example, parents may tell you, go find a normal job and make children, and you say, no, come on, I listen to my heart, I become an artist. And this painting depicts of what I see kind of ideal relationships between man and a woman, when the man is protecting and the woman is praying, and then the big energy power from God comes to illuminate their partnership. And what else? And this painting, I recently sold it. It shows a big angel sitting near the house, and angel is quietly observing what's going on, and the house is fine, and there is smoke from the chimney, and there are some garden and everything, and now the angel is sleeping because there is nothing to protect. Everything is fine, everything is safe. And I wanted to show this feeling of safety, this feeling when everything is fine, and you just can relax and sleep for some time, and you don't have to worry about. And in my life I lack this state, so I wanted to convey it in the painting. Also, I didn't want the angel to look very Christian, so I took the image from the Nepalese statuette of Buddha I brought from there. And this painting I made when I was very happy. It's called The First Year, and it's the meaning, it's no actually philosophical sense. It's just a big dog near the river in the mountains and a lot of fireflies, and I was making it on a very happy period of my life. And this painting is called Moving Home. It was kind of painting a prophecy. A big castle decides to move to another shore of the sea, and it's all is loaded into the big
text what your pieces were about, because obviously you sent us your kind of text, your statement about the pieces, the ones that you showed were also in the festival. But hearing you talk about it makes it, it just brings the pieces alive. Actually, it makes them seem totally different.
Thank you.
Totally different.
Amazing.
Magdalena, I would also love to see your
It's
works.
very,
Yes, please.
oh my
Magdalena,
God.
you show some work.
I know how to share the screen.
We all know. Magdalena is the best of us all of sharing the screen.
Yes. um, so I'm going to show you this is the latest work I've done. It's a drawing on paper, and it's made with pro markers. So and it's not that big because it's 70 pro 50 centimeters. So it's not the biggest one I've done, but you can imagine how much work I need to put into one piece, because it takes literally hours to finish that. And I have problems with talking about my works because I never know what to say, because I sometimes want my works to speak for themselves, like nothing more can be added. And in this series, because this is one of the drawings from the humdrum series. The humdrum #1 was presented last year on the festival, and this year is also presented. The drawing from that series is also presented on the festival, and it's probably humdrum 5 or something like this. This is humdrum 9, so I have plenty of those drawings. And what the series is about, I'll show you more of those works from the series. Oh, come on. The series is my personal answer. Like I try to answer myself a few questions. And why did I start the first drawing was I wanted to answer myself, why the hell am I doing it? Like, what's the purpose of making art and so on? So I decided to take the most suitable for me materials and sit in the most cozy place in my house and just draw, like do everything to make the act of creating cozy and nice. So this is how I started, and I chose topics like dance macabre, for example, in here, divine things, occultism, magic, and so on. Why? I have no idea. It's just like I'm into this topic very much, and I try to get as many informations as I can. And this topic of occultism and mysterious stuff is like an ocean. So it's really not possible to know everything at one moment, but I really try to, and I try to convert those topics, this knowledge into those drawings, because I found a way of creating that is really comfortable for me. So right now I can convert topics that are interesting into this comfortable way of creating. And those that you can see are 100 per 70 centimeters, so they are full size. And I spent many hours doing these, and I spent many coins like money on those materials, because they are freaking expensive. Yeah. And what for? Like, why? I have no idea, but I still do it. And this is what's the series about. This is why it's called humdrum, because it's nothing. It's just a piece of paper, and in this stupid piece of paper that can be easily thrown away, you can find something, many details, and you can feel those hours that I spent, because every line, you can see every line, every dot, and so on. And I I believe that people see it, and I hope that they see that I put my everything into those works. But this is only like those humdrum series. Those drawings are just a small part of what I'm doing. But because I'm basically a painter, and this is also my PhD is also about painting. So these are paintings. This one is called Wild Frontier, and it's a metaphor of a day that is way too much for you. Like dinosaur is the day, and this pigeon is you. Like the day is, eating you. Like you, Olena, said that you have 25 things to do in your calendar, and it's like overwhelming. So yeah, this painting is more or less about that. I paint parrots a lot. Don't ask me why, because I have no idea. My friends laugh at me that I paint parrots, but this is how it is. Some other birds. I also make illustrations, and those illustrations are mostly with animals and botanical stuff. So I work quite a lot. I'm sort of a workaholic, so I try to reach something from other techniques, and I try to touch different technique each day. So today I was drawing. Tomorrow I'm going to make a lino cut, and the day after I'm going to draw, and so on. So I always need to find something new, and yes, there's a lot of details, and I'm always mad at myself that I decide to make so many details, because it's frustrating, and your hand is hurting, your back is like dying, and so on. But I still do those details, and there's nothing. I just can't help myself. I have no idea why. Why is that? Maybe it's like with this guy who was hit in his head, and that he had some kind of damage, brain damage, or something. So lino cuts. Yeah, so there's a lot of works that I could show you, but let's just yeah, let's just finish it.
Incredible.
Thank you so much, Magda. It was really contributions. But what I will do is I will contact Rajesh, and if he has anything he wants to add, then he can maybe record himself,
Yeah.
and then I can always add it to the recording that you send me, Olena, and then we can put that up so that there's a record of everybody. Because that's a bit of a shame that because of technology he doesn't get to talk. Okay.
And I think that there might be a quite problem with the recording, because I just downloaded some quick version, and it records and stops every 2 minutes, and when sometimes I try and check and make a recording again, but there may be some holes, some spaces when I didn't record it. So I will try to stick it all together, and we'll see, and I will send you. I will send you this.
Okay,
maybe I will upload to YouTube and share in our event page, so everybody who didn't go here can see.
Perfect. One last shout out in case anyone is being shy, holding out till the last minute, or are we all good? Okay. All right. So thank you to everybody for coming. Thank you especially to our panelists. I hope that you've had a positive experience.
Yes.
It's been really lovely sharing the evening with you and your artworks. Thank you all so much for being part of the festivals. And hopefully we'll see you at some other events soon.
Yeah.
Yes, see you soon. And hopefully see you in person.
Thank you very much.
That was great. Thank you.
Glad you all enjoyed it. Thank you.
Guys, I'm so happy to meet all of you, and I didn't even imagine that this conversation flow will be so easy and so simple, and that we will find like we are exactly on the same side, and it's absolutely amazing that people from different parts of the world can laugh at the same things. That's for me absolutely amazing. If anybody of you will ever come to Ukraine, or especially I live in Lviv, so I can host you. You can be my guest, and we can make something together. I'm open to some kind of mutual projects. So just add me on Facebook, and I'm open to any kind of communication. I really appreciate that I met today all of you. That's one of the best days of this post-quarantine reality.
Yes, and
hey, that's a success.
Thank you guys for inviting us. And I guess that connecting people is one of the Sarah's superpowers.
Yeah.
So thank you, Sarah, again. And
you're welcome. Thank you all for taking part.
Great.
Thank you. Okay, so see you and have a nice evening.
See you.
Yes. Okay.
Bye.
See you later, everybody. Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.